Long before swords were drawn, the air trembled with rumors of invasion. From distant lands beyond the sunrise, word spread that King Xerxes of Persia was marching west, his armies countless as grains of sand. Greece, divided among rival city-states, faced its greatest trial. Yet amidst this uncertainty, one name echoed above the rest: Sparta. Renowned for its discipline and honor, Sparta's king Leonidas was chosen to lead a small but resolute force, not for glory but to hold a narrow mountain pass, Thermopylae, where terrain could balance the scales. As the sun rose over the Aegean, ships gathered like a silver forest on the water. The challenge had begun, not only of armies but of ideals. Freedom against dominion, courage against fear. Leaders from across Greece assembled in tense deliberation. Athens, Corinth, Thebes, and Sparta. Voices clashed, each city torn between pride and peril. The Persians demanded submission, yet submission meant surrendering the Greek spirit, their love of liberty, their devotion to gods, and their belief in self-rule. Among them, Leonidas spoke little, yet when he did, silence followed. His words were simple: "We fight not because we must win, but because we must stand." The council agreed. Thermopylae would be the chosen ground. Narrow and defensible, it would delay Xerxes' advance while the Greek navy confronted Persian ships at sea. The decision sealed, messengers galloped across valleys and ridges, summoning warriors not of conquest but of conviction. The defense of Greece had begun. Through winding trails and olive groves, Leonidas led his chosen 300 Spartans, not the entirety of Sparta's might, but men who each had sons to carry their names forward. Alongside them came allies from Thespiae, Thebes, and Phocis. Farmers, craftsmen, and soldiers, united under one cause. The journey was long, yet no complaints were heard. Along the way, villagers offered bread, fruit, and blessings. Mothers whispered words of pride, not sorrow. The mountains loomed higher as they neared Thermopylae, where sulfur springs steamed against cool stone. The pass, narrow and steep, felt like the threshold between worlds. Here Leonidas halted his men and gazed toward the horizon, where a faint dust cloud hinted at the approaching empire. The moment of testing was close. Upon arrival, the defenders set to work with quiet purpose. No drums, no fanfare, only the rhythmic echo of stone meeting stone. They rebuilt an ancient wall left from earlier wars, strengthening it with timber and rock. Shields were aligned, spears planted firmly in the soil. Leonidas walked among his men, offering a steady word here, a calm nod there. The air smelled of pine and sea salt. Nearby, Thespian workers shaped barricades from fallen trees, while scouts climbed the ridges to watch the distant dust grow larger. Beneath the mountain peaks, men of different cities labored as one, united by the same heartbeat of duty. Above them, gulls circled the sky, as if even nature paused to witness what was to come. From the north came a thunder that was not of storm, but of marching feet. The Persian army, endless in sight, poured into the valley. Banners rippling like waves of color, the air thick with the sound of drums and horns. Yet from the Greek position, no panic stirred. The narrow pass transformed vastness into equality. Only a few could approach at once. Scouts returned with news of immense forces, cavalry, archers, and soldiers from distant lands. Yet their leader, King Xerxes, saw not defenders, but obstacles. He sent envoys offering mercy in exchange for surrender. Leonidas's reply was calm: "Come and take them." The messengers departed, bearing words that would echo for millennia. Stillness returned to Thermopylae, a silence before the test of resolve. As stars blanketed the sky, campfires flickered across the narrow pass. Soldiers shared stories, not of conquest, but of home. One spoke of vineyards near Corinth, another of his children learning letters in Athens. Leonidas sat quietly, watching the embers drift upward like tiny souls. He knew the dawn would bring trial, yet his gaze was steady, not grim. In the cool night air, he spoke softly. "When fear rises, remember, we are the guardians of tomorrow." Laughter rippled through the camp. A musician plucked a lyre, its notes carrying over the wind. Sleep came lightly, broken only by the distant hum of the Persian encampment below. Between two worlds, darkness and light, men rested in the calm before destiny. Morning light spilled over the mountains, painting the pass in gold. From the Persian lines came movement, the sound of commands, the glitter of armor. Leonidas stood at the forefront, his red cloak stirring in the wind. Yet there was no hatred in his eyes, only focus. Behind him, rows of men held their ground. Shields shimmered in the light, forming an unbroken wall. From afar, the Persian ranks seemed endless, but within the pass, only a narrow space lay between them. The air thickened, anticipation, not chaos. Then silence. Two forces, separated by ideals, stared across the stones of Thermopylae. The struggle was not for land, but for time. Time for Greece to unite, to awaken. The day had begun. For days, the defenders held their ground, their endurance outlasting the enemy's expectations. Xerxes watched from his throne, astonished that so few could resist so many. The narrow terrain turned numbers into burden. Each advance faltered, each attempt met with unwavering defense. Yet the Greeks did not celebrate. They knew each hour bought was precious, each delay vital. At night, they repaired the wall, tended fires, and spoke quietly of strategy. The Persians, vast and confident, began to realize that conquest was not so simple against men who would not yield. The mountain winds carried whispers of admiration, even from the foe's ranks. What began as defiance grew into legend. The pass itself seemed to stand taller, proud of those who guarded it. But even the strongest stand can be undone by secrets. A local shepherd, driven by greed or fear, revealed to the Persians a hidden mountain path. It wound through the ridges behind Thermopylae, narrow, steep, yet passable. That night, under the cloak of darkness, Persian troops began to ascend. Meanwhile below, Leonidas felt the wind shift, a sense that fate had changed course. Scouts soon confirmed it. The enemy would soon encircle them. There was no anger, no panic, only a calm acceptance. Leonidas gathered his leaders. His voice was steady. The stand has served its purpose. Greece will have time to prepare some urged retreat, but Leonidas chose otherwise. To leave now would dishonor the unity they had built. The decision was made. As dawn crept across the ridges, the Spartans and their allies prepared for what lay ahead. Leonidas released most of the Greek contingents, sending them home to carry word of the stand. Only a few remained, those who wished to continue beside him. Thespians and Spartans alike chose to stay, not out of despair, but devotion. Around them, the mountain air felt heavier, as if the world itself paused to witness the moment. Leonidas looked toward the sea, where sunlight shimmered over distant sails, the Greek fleet still fighting for the homeland. "If we must be remembered," he said quietly, "let it be for this, that we held until the end." No mourning, no fear, only resolve. As the Persians descended the secret path, the defenders stood in quiet formation. Each man understood his place, his purpose. Theirs was no ordinary stand. It was a symbol carved in courage. Beyond Thermopylae, word of their endurance inspired cities that once quarreled to unite. Athens prepared its navy, Corinth its soldiers, and even distant islanders sent aid. Leonidas' choice had done what no council could. It bound Greece together. The men at Thermopylae had become the voice of resistance, the heartbeat of freedom. The mountains themselves seemed to guard their vow. "So long as courage endures," Leonidas said, "no empire can enslave the soul of a people." Their resolve transformed a narrow pass into a gateway of hope. As sunlight touched the cliffs, the final moments of the defense unfolded, not in chaos, but in calm determination. The defenders moved like a single body, steady, silent, unwavering. Even the Persian soldiers, seeing such discipline, hesitated in respect. The air filled not with cries, but with the sounds of shields striking rhythm, a heartbeat of defiance. The mountain echoed that rhythm, as if nature itself honored their bravery. They stood not against men, but against the idea that might alone could rule the world. Though the tide pressed in, the message was already written. Courage could delay an empire, and spirit could outlast steel. When the dust settled, Thermopylae stood quiet again, but the silence was not defeat, it was remembrance. From the mountain pass, survivors and messengers traveled south, bearing the tale of what had happened. Across Greece, hearts stirred. Farmers, sailors, artisans, all felt the weight of the story. The sacrifice at Thermopylae was not the end, but the spark of renewal. When news reached Athens, its people vowed to continue the struggle. In Corinth, bells rang for unity. Even distant islands prayed for the defenders. Xerxes, though victorious in ground, had not conquered the spirit he sought. Thermopylae became a mirror, showing that even when outnumbered, a free people could shape destiny. The battle had changed the course of history, not through force, but through faith in something greater than self. Centuries passed, yet the story of Thermopylae endured. Poets sang of it, historians recorded it, and nations remembered it. The narrow pass where stone met sea became a sacred symbol, a place where courage defied conquest. Monuments rose not to glorify war, but to honor resolve. Upon them, simple words were engraved. Go, tell the Spartans, stranger passing by, that here, obedient to their laws, we lie. Those words carried no sorrow, only pride, the pride of men who fulfilled their duty. From that day onward, Thermopylae became more than a battleground. It became a testament to the human spirit, that in the face of overwhelming odds, steadfastness can light the path for generations to come. Today, Thermopylae stands silent, its stones warmed by the same sun that once shone upon Leonidas and his men. The hot springs still flow, steam rising like whispers of the past. Travelers pause and listen, feeling history beneath their feet. Though centuries have faded the footsteps, the message remains clear. Courage, unity, and sacrifice can outlast empires. The true victory of Thermopylae was not in conquest, but in remembrance. That freedom's flame burns brightest in the hearts of those who choose to stand. And so, the mountain pass endures, not merely as a place on a map, but as a living symbol. When we face our own impossible challenges, may we remember Thermopylae, where a few stood firm and the world learned what it means to be free.
Please subscribe and look for more documentaries at Swords and Shadows.